Kingswell was founded in 2009, and we had a group of people in Cincinnati who wanted to develop a new type of seminary.
The goal of Kingswell, the mission of Kingswell, is to train men and women to be missionaries in their called context. So it could be their workplace, it could be their neighborhoods, it could even be their church. It could be wherever they are called by God to serve.
The first thing that we saw was a need for the church to figure out this missionary problem that we have in the West, and that is about 60% of the population will not go to church. And so we have about 40% of the population that's in church presently, and we are finding that that number is gradually decreasing every year.
That bothers us at Kingswell. We want to help engage the church into the community where they're also comfortable to serve and just be in the community. So there's 4 pathways to get involved with Kingswell and engage more in the community. The first being our cohort of 7 to 12 cohort members.
And that missional leadership is where we learn about how to engage our community for Jesus, where we learn how to listen to what's going on in our neighborhoods.
There are emerging leaders in our community that have a heart for Jesus, but they want to express that differently than just going to church every Sunday. And so we come alongside them and we walk through material, books, scripture, to show them and give them tools to be able to do that effectively. The next one would be conferences and events, or those third spaces, and getting involved in the conferences and those events in our community that we put our hearts in. Anyone can join those as well. Coaching and consulting. So when we do life with our community, that includes the church, all churches. Coming into the church, doing kind of a rundown of what the needs are, where they need help, what they're doing right, and coming alongside that and strengthening that through training and coaching and encouraging and just helping with more of the discipleship piece. So we are super excited about our relationship with Sioux Falls Seminary. That is the 4th element to what we do. Anyone that goes through our cohort and gets training through us, that then gets applied to a master's degree through Sioux Falls Seminary, which is an accredited seminary as we work towards getting our accreditation. So it's a pretty neat partnership there, and it's not just a waste just to go through our program. And so third spaces would be like our movies in the park. The churches come and they set up and they just serve food, free food. They help set up with the sound and the film, and they just engage in activities, face painting, and then families come to these movie nights just wanting to see a good movie with their kids. And maybe for some of these parents, it's their first time doing something like that with their kids. Families that started at year 1 are now not only going to church, but they're getting baptized and following Jesus themselves and coming back to volunteer.
One other event is the Ladies' Night Out, and I'm sure my wife has already talked about it since she has a big mouth. But
with Ladies' Night Out, it's an event that's grown to over 200 women every year coming to this event, and through that, relationships are formed, small groups are formed, groups are meeting on a regular basis around our city every week or every 2 weeks, and discipleship is happening with women that either haven't gone to church or went to church as a child, or they left the church for whatever reason, and now they're engaging back into Jesus conversation.
And then also we engaged men in our community where they could actually serve meals to these ladies during the event.
So seeing those ladies blossom, some of them come in there feeling very low about themselves, their self-image, they don't feel pretty, they don't feel worthy. And it's like this transformation when they get the hair and makeup and dress. It's not about that, but it's the inside transformation that has been incredibly awesome to watch. Some of these women come in so shy, and now they are my biggest mouths out there, loving on our community, and so that's pretty cool.
Right now, it's really all about the relationships that we build. Right now, for example, we've done a princess party, tea party. I know this sounds crazy, but My wife does some amazing things. She has these ideas and they get blown out of proportion and they become really big. So one of those things that just happened was the Princess Party. It was a tea party for little girls. They were invited. It was primarily made up of families who would not ordinarily go to church. They were invited to this where they had tea, they had dancing, just an overall experience where these little girls just experienced what it means to be a princess. And then there was a book that was read that was provided by one of our partners, Rel Church. It was The Princess Kiss, and it talked about purity. Okay, and when the story was read to the little girls, I guess the room was completely silent. You could hear a pin drop, talking about purity and what that means in terms of a Christian context. So it's possibly the first time some of these girls even heard the concept of purity or what it means to be pure, from a Christian perspective. So it was a great way to engage those who would not ordinarily go to church.
Getting involved in Kingswell is pretty easy. It's an email away, it's a phone call away, it's a message on Facebook. It's just contacting me or Scott and saying, hey, I want to be involved. And then I typically do a 5-minute, hey, what do you like to do? Because we don't want to just put somebody to volunteer where they're not gifted. So we help them kind of discover through volunteering as well what their gift is, what did God make them for. And there's many of my volunteers that go through a book with me to figure out how they're wired, where their gift is. And some of these people, they find Jesus just through doing that. And then plugging them in where they're confident, where they know that their abilities are going to be used. So it's pretty easy to get involved. Just ask.